I do recommend, in the case of Albert Omondi Ojwang, that the case be applied for as a plea bargaining. I will try to explain what a plea bargaining is, and then later on explain why I think this particular case is important. When it comes to the case of Boniface Mwangi Kariuki, I believe there are very few things that can make a case for plea bargaining be there. Obviously, almost all the reasons are there, and there is no gaining there. But first, what is plea bargaining? Plea bargaining is when 1, 2, 3, or even all the accused persons enter into an agreement with the prosecution for their charges to be softened, so that they face a lesser charge or even a pardon for giving evidence. And why should they give evidence or give information, not evidence, give information? And why should they give information? There are various reasons why they give information. Majority of the cases, over 95% of plea bargaining, is where 2 or more accused persons have committed a crime. And the prosecution finds that they cannot, with all the evidence they have, they cannot convict this person or persons without one of the co-accused turning into a state witness. If there are 2, one may opt to turn to be a state witness and give evidence against the other one. This is where the prosecution comes up to the conclusion that if we don't use one of them or some of them, then we may end up not convicting the remaining one or ones. So they enter into an agreement with a co-accused, in that the co-accused will give evidence against his or her co-accused at a price. This only happens when the prosecution has no other way of finding out. The prosecution has studied the file, and they have come to a conclusion that they can only succeed if they use one or several of their co-accused. They can even use all of them except one, in that they could be 40 accused, but 39 could give evidence against the mastermind or whatever. That is what plea bargaining in the first instance happens. And what benefits do you get through plea bargaining? The benefits you get is either you are set free or you are charged in a lesser charge. For example, you are several people, you murdered somebody, jointly murdered somebody, and then you are not the main what? You are not the main planner. For lack of a better example, let me give an example. Somebody believes that in this constituency, so and so is the only one who can beat me. So when he is dead, or when she is dead, no other person can defeat me in an election. So I hire goons to go and kill this person. And when they kill that person, I may hire 7, 10, or even 13 goons. It can reach a place where one or even all those goons will turn to state witnesses and say that it is me who not only planned but financed for the assassination. Remember, it only happens when the prosecution has no other way. What are the benefits of a plea bargaining? The benefits of plea bargaining are: one, you can be forgiven and walk home free. Two, your sentence is reduced. There are even some occasions when if they release you, it is dangerous to you. It is dangerous to you. So you may find that you may have participated in murdering somebody, and then you plea bargain. After plea bargaining, you are sentenced to 10 years jail for not murder now, but manslaughter. But why should you give evidence and then be jailed maybe 10 years for manslaughter? If you have been to a police cell, you'll find that one day, one night, 24 hours is like a whole month. So why should you accept? Because before you turn and become and attack some of your own, you are told the of the whatever you're going to get. Why should you accept to be jailed, let's say, for 10 years? Well, the court knows, and even the prosecution knows, that some evidence, if you give and you are set free, you, by being free out there, you may lose your life. You may be killed. The example I've just given of a politician who goes around buying goons to kill his political opponent. Now, if you go there and say that politician so and so hired us and whatever, how sure are you that those who are associated with him will not come for you? So sometimes you find that a person who has plea bargained accepts to have something like 10 years jail term for his or her own safety. It is better to stay in jail for 10 years than be released today and you live for 10 days. So you may find some of this plea bargaining, someone is jailed for so many years, and you think I can't accept 10 years, whatever. But it is also for the safety of that person who has done it. Another thing I wanted to say is that when you enter plea bargaining, it is conditional. It is conditional. If you enter a plea bargaining and you don't win the case, then understand that your plea bargaining is null and void. The prosecution can still come back to you and charge you afresh. So one of the major conditions of plea bargaining is that you have to guarantee them conviction of the other person. If through your evidence or even evidence, if that person you have turned against wins the case, then your plea bargaining has lost its meaning. You'll just undergo a normal trial like any other person. Who knows? The person whom you turned against may win the case, and you undergo a normal trial and be convicted and and get a maximum sentence for that. Now that is instances where the prosecution wants to convict one of the co-accused, and they find that they have no reason. I mean, the chances of a conviction without that are very slim. But then we have another type of plea bargaining. Plea bargaining in this case It is it involves it involves the accused and the immediate family of the deceased. In this instance, there is a lot of questions concerning Albert. And as I said, there are very, very few questions concerning Boniface Mwangi Kario. It's just as straightforward because 10 minutes before he was killed, maybe they had not even met Boniface and those two police officers. But when it comes to Albert Omondi Ojwang, there is a lot of blanks that people would want to know, especially his immediate family. This we find there is a need for closure. Let's take an example of one person killing the other person. You have been accused, or let me not put it that. Let me put it this way. I have been accused of murdering somebody. Nobody was there. No, the body is not there. There is a strong feeling that whatever. The state wants to know. You see, I don't have a co-accused. The state wants to know if that person is actually dead. And if he's dead, where is the body? Most of these people bury the bodies at Seward. So it reaches a time where there is no way you can get the truth. There is no way you can get the facts unless the accused person, who is the only person who knows the truth, will come out and pinpoint the places. Say, I killed so and so here, and I buried the remains here and there, and then they go and recover those. You see, accepting, and then things like the bodies are not found, it becomes a bit complicated. So yes, you can be the single accused person. You could be the only accused person. But then, since the state wants to find the body to give it a befitting burial, since the family wants to know what exactly happened and whatever, your charges will be changed from murder to manslaughter. So that is one of the ways where you, being the only accused person, turn into you plea bargain. The other reason is to do with the family getting the closure. Family getting the closure. The family would want to know, why was he viciously attacked? Why was he viciously attacked? You cannot, as a human being, you can, that is why you say you hit somebody badly, they say, amekugonga kinyama, like an animal. A human being, even your worst enemy, you have to have some compassionate to him or her. But then, how comes that it reaches to a level of hatred of that extent that somebody had to be killed? There are very many cases we can talk about and spend 13 days talking about it. But let us talk just about this particular case of Ojwang. The family, to find the closure, and I saw it actually, what made me record this was somebody, during the Requiem Mass for him, somebody even talked about it. Somebody talked about it. I think it is a family spokesman or something, where he wanted to say that there are some things that as a family they would want to know. There are some things that as a family they would have wanted to know. If Ojwang would have been alive, they would have wanted to ask him what led to this. But now he's not alive. The family would really want to know from the other people. I'm not saying that Mukhwana is right or anything, but most likely a person like Mukhwana and Kimani, not even that, even the OCS himself, Talam, the three of them can disclose a lot of things. It is obvious, you see, for things to reach an extent where a technician is called to erase the CCTV footage. You see, this is something that was erasing, I think, happened after his death. But you see, when such things happen, and you find that when a crime is about to be committed, we have had several cases, I don't want to mention them. You have had a person like Jacob Juma, when he passed through certain areas, it happened that at that particular time, Kinamusando, they passed a certain place, and when it reached the time for that, the CCTVs were switched off at the time when he was expected to be in that area after that. So these are the things that they would want to know, that whatever happened to Albert Omondi Ojwang is that it was pre-planned. It was pre-planned, and you see, what do we call this system of salesmanship? They said it's sales system, whereby you look for three people and you ask the three people, each one to look for three people, and those other three people will look for another three people. So in a week, you'll find that you'll have maybe even 5,000 people you have recruited. These people, the Kenyan legal system is called adversarial. Adversarial. Adversarial is that you decide which side you are on, and you can't give any evidence that will assist the other side. So if you go into plea bargaining, they can really tell the court, the family, or even the nation, everything that happened. For somebody to have organized that somebody be driven all the way from Homa Bay to Nairobi, and then from Nairobi, getting somebody who had, you see, I would also want to ask Mukhwana, why is it that he had left duty at 6 p.m. and then he was called again 3 hours later? Of course, I've already recorded in another tape where I said that Mukhwana was the ideal person because of his heavily built. He has a bouncer's body, and also being a former AP. You know, APs following rules, being told so long as the boss has said something. A police or a person who has been in Kiganjo will try to ask himself or herself if it is a legal question. You give him. That is why in disciplinary offences, the Kenya police, there is one which is called disobeying a lawful command. Disobeying a lawful command. So all commands that are lawful, you are supposed to obey. But if it is an unlawful, you can refuse to obey. So if the APs or anybody with a background in AP, chances of agreeing to follow whatever you agree, has been told without questioning are higher than somebody who is a career general duty, GD. So we would want to know, is this, right now Mukhwana will go to court. He'll be charged. He'll say that when Mukhwana goes to court, he will be, the adversarial nature of our Kanini. They'll be, wait, you are a criminal, you have done this, whatever. But if a way can be found for those three, Talam, Kimani, and Mukhwana, if they can give a, if they can agree to tell the whole world, especially the family, on exactly what happened. This is something that, and I'm hearing it from the side that the intention was to teach, and actually that is the problem we're having with the Ruto's government. This thing about abduction is to teach a person a lesson that he will never forget, a lesson that he will never forget. So this person was supposed to be taught a lesson that he'll never forget, and people were selected. So when people are being selected, it means that this was not a random thing, because if it were to be a random thing, it has to be those who are there, but recalling those who are not on duty to come, and then the OCS deliberately making sure that at that very same time he's nowhere near there. It shows that he knew something bad would happen, and that is why he went to Langata, somewhere where there was a CCTV, where there is a CCTV, so that in case of anything, He can always say, I was somewhere. And even this mobile phone triangulation, mobile phone triangulation could trace him, to somewhere in Langata. Holistically, I would say that, and then there is also the family. There is the family. In many cases, the family would want, even at a cost of withdrawing the case. But they cannot withdraw the case for the simple reason that if these three people are released, this is the end of the career for the three. Because if these three people are released, their lives would be in danger. Their lives would be in danger. It is even possible for somebody to, in a case of losing somebody's life, it is possible to find that a hitman can come and eliminate them. That is why you may find that they could be sentenced not less than 5 years. They could be sentenced for 5 years, and with a belief that is if they cooperate fully. I'm not saying otherwise, but I'm saying there are some cases, minor cases, where you cooperate fully, and when the case ends, you go back home and become a free person more than me and you. But in such a cases where a human life has been lost, it is not advisable to release that person freely for his or her own safety. For his or her own safety. So yes, they can agree with the state to give all the facts. They can agree with the state for their charges to be lessened. But I don't see them going for a short sentence or being released just like that. They'll be told, okay, you are assisting us, but the truth of the matter is you are going to spend in jail not less than 5 years or not less than 10 years or whatever sentence there will be. When they agree, that is what is going to happen. And they'll be told, lucky enough, they are police officers, so they know. But they'll be told that your life is in danger should you move out, meaning out of here. So we'll do that. And that is what I was coming to the point I was saying that in many families, the best closure are two. One of the closures is giving the dead person, a befitting farewell, a funeral service. And the other one is the closure is they want to know who ordered for their person to be killed. How was the person lured? How the last moments of that person before he died? Did he feel pain? Did he do whatever? Such things, many families usually find that, just like the family spokesman was saying, that there are so many things that they would have really wanted to know from Ojwang, but he's dead, Omondi Ojwang, but he's dead, and they would really want to know because as a family, they know that even criminals have got their own relatives and whatever. So you cannot just say that our son was to be good, a hana makosa or anything, but they would really want to understand why was it that he must be killed, and even after knowing why he must be killed, they would want to know the pain he went through. You'll even find, strange as it is, you may even find that there are circumstances where they even go to the place where he breathed his last. Mm. They breathed his last. They would also want to talk to. They would also want to talk to these police officers, the three police officers who took him to Bagadi. They would want to know, when you left the police station, was he alive or not? And then what was going on through your mind? Because when you left the Land Cruiser, it was not like you are rushing somebody to be, revived or anything. And it is like you are fearing. And then there was this phone call, to work, why are you calling? And how is it? There are so many things like that. And if you answer them, conclusively, then it becomes even easier for them, for their lives to go on. Because some people even wonder, why was our son, why must he have died? Why did he do that and whatever? And what type of pain did he go through? That one, it is better than, okay, someone may say, Some criminals may use that opportunity to reduce their sentences. Yes, some criminals may use that as an excuse to reduce their sentences. But assuming that they'll tell the truth, because in this world it is really impossible to know the truth. I found a lot of people saying, unamuona so and so unamuona Jitenge, Jitenge tells the truth. No, Jitenge does not tell the truth. When you hear somebody saying Jitenge tells the truth, or you hear somebody saying Jitenge lies, it means two things. When somebody says Jitenge tells the truth, he or she means that Jitenge usually convinces me. And when somebody says Jitenge doesn't tell the truth, it means that Jitenge rarely convinces me. Whatever usually tells me, I don't usually get convinced. So there are only three people who knows the exact last moment when Ojwang breathed his last. There are only three people who know, or is it four? There are up to four people who know how he breathed his last, why he breathed, and so on and so forth. But to respect the family, it is good for them to know why was he to die? Was it an accident or anything? Why was he to die? And who ordered for their killing? I can tell you that we may end up, it is quite possible that this case may end up in such a way, that we may jail these people and the real killers are not known and will never be known. And then let me ask you a question. If the real killers are found, they can even confess, and so on and so forth. What benefit do the family get? You see, they get nothing. Although justice, yes, they get justice. But I'm trying to look at it this way. If at the price of getting those invaluable answers, if they can get those invaluable answers, then it is easy for them at least to stretch and cause these other people not to be convicted to the maximum, but be convicted on a lesser charge or a lesser sentence. It is that way. You know, when you jail the three without knowing who ordered Ojwang to be killed, without knowing how Ojwang's last minutes when he was alive. You see these people coming and saying, I hit him, and then he produced the sound of like a cow that is being slaughtered or anything. And then it is so and so who did this. It is blah 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 who ordered, and this is how much we were paid, and this is how we were briefed, and actually we used. This is not the first time we have been doing it. Actually, this thing has been happening. We have even killed other people. Such things, if at the price of knowing the truth, can make it becomes beneficial to the immediate family and even to the whole country if the truth came out. But as I said, and I'll still remain telling you that the truth, only three, is it four people who know the truth? That is the late Albert Omondi Ojwang. He knows the truth, but he cannot tell us. The second person to know are the people who killed him. That is the second person. Of course, I'd forgotten God. So those are three. The God first. God knows what happened. Second, the people, the Ojwang himself knows, but he is incapable of telling us. Third, the people who killed him. And fourth, the people who sent them to do that. Those are the people who can. And if at a price of lessening, because what would the Ojwang family gain if that person stays in the jail for 50, 60 years? But if at a price of knowing the pain and the experience that their son went through in the last moments in the earth, I think that is why I am for the idea of plea bargaining. Thank you.